All right, folks. Here, let me switch over to me. You are going away. We are staying here. See you in fellowship after hours. Okay. That was an awesome teaching, Don.
Cool.
I had never thought about a couple of those things that, Jesus was plan B and so was David. And David would have picked, or Jesus would have picked that up from reading the scriptures.
Oh.
There had to be a plan B, and he was the plan B.
Yep.
David went out and stood up against a huge, powerful enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ went out and stood against a huge and powerful enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And he beat him.
Yep. He did. Outsmarted him in every way, physically, mentally. Very, very cool stuff in the Bible. I think it's in Corinthians where, First Corinthians, we can read it. I'll read it to you real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. It says, let's see, verse 1. 10 verse 1. 1 Corinthians 10:1 says, "Moreover, brethren, I would not have you ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were all baptized under Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. But with many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our examples." Verse 6. "Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they did, neither be idolaters as they were, some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to be and play. Neither let us commit fornication as some of them did and fell, 320,000. Neither let us tempt Christ as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents." All that took place in the wilderness. Verse 10, "Neither murmur ye as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer." Verse 11, "Now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they're written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come." Very cool. So God doesn't want us to be ignorant of this stuff. Lots to learn. Another thing that I didn't mention was that before the big fight with Goliath, David, when Saul had all these problems with that evil spirit, he'd get all worked up. The evil spirit was pestering him. Somebody told him, a wise person told him that if you could find someone that could play music, that would help. And so Saul said, "Well, find me somebody." And so some guy said, "Well, I've heard about this guy named David. He's really good on the harp." And he's a valiant man, and he's strong and these kind of things, and good to look at. He's comely. He's a pretty boy. And so Saul said, "Okay, well, go fetch him." Saul didn't know who he was. He didn't know he was anointed by Samuel. All that happened behind the scenes. And then when this situation arose, the Spirit of God there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Your spirit will make room for you," or something like that, and lead you before great men. I don't know where that is. I can't remember. Something like that. That's probably a bad paraphrase. But anyways, God will put you in situations, and men will be attracted to you and find favor with you.
I think it's actually your gift will make space for you.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, so David got put into that situation, and he didn't even ask for the job. So it's kind of like, and he didn't know anything about being king either. He's out there, watching sheep and stuff. He's really good at that, but he didn't know anything about being a king. So now he's in the chambers with the king, playing his harp and seeing how the king does stuff. How do you run a kingdom? Is he doing a good job? Is he doing a bad job? You can learn either way. If he's a good king, you learn how to be a good king. If he's a bad king, you learn how not to be a bad. What not to do. So, just like today, if you want to be really good at something, if you're around people that are really good, you're going to find out how to get really good at it. If you're around people that are really bad, then you'll know how not to do it. You play golf with some guys long enough, you know how not to play golf. You play around people that are really good, you really like being around them. You kind of play better. You learn, you get a little better. You play with guys that are better than you. It's little things like that. But that had to be a God that put him in that situation. Saul didn't know who he was. If he'd have known he was anointed, that would probably really got him angered. Eventually he found out, and then he started trying to kill him. That's when he started throwing his spear across the room. Like, instead of throwing a lamp, these guys didn't throw lamps. They got their spears out.
Yeah, threw a spear at him.
Threw a spear at him. He did that several times. But David kept coming back. That's just the way he was. Hey, it's a king. He could have killed him several times. He didn't.
Yeah.
That was the respect he had for the king. He was God's anointed man, and he's going to treat him that way no matter how he treated him. And a lot more cool things to learn about that too.
The anointed one of God. Yeah. He wouldn't touch him.
Yeah.
And we are the anointed ones of God.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got to go, guys. I'm tired, and I got to get up about 5 and get to work. So,
okay.
Right, good to see you.
Enjoyed it, John. Thank you.
Let's say good night before you go. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Bless you, John.
Thank you.
Bless you. Okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast here in a second.